ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وقال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه الكريم فاسألوا أهل الذكر إن كنتم لا تعلمون صدق الله العظيم انتہائی محترم اور مکرم میرے بزرگوں نوجوان ساتھیوں, let us all recite Durood Pak in the holy quote of Rasul Akram sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam with love and respect all together. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina wa Mawlana Muhammadin ma'adin al-judi wal-karam wa alihi wa sahbihi wa barik wa sallim salatan wa salaman alayka Ya Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Alhamdulillah, we are continuing from yesterday. Our last dars, it was regarding makruhat of fasting. What is makruhat? Makruhat of fasting, not necessarily they break your fast, but they affect your fast in terms of the spirituality. So the full potential reward that you should have attained out of your fast, it decreases the reward and it takes the soul and the actual purpose of fasting away from a person. For example, we learned about backbiting. If a person is fasting and behind the back he is talking ill about someone, that means his fast is not giving him the purpose that he was supposed to attain. And the purpose of fast was to become pious. When a person does backbiting, it is against the piety. Therefore, that will make his fast makruh. We'll continue from makruhat of fast. Very briefly, we'll try and understand the sahri and iftar. What is sahri and what is iftar? What is the significance of sahri, suhoor, in other words, in the light of ahadith of Rasul Akram sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. Couple of ahadith and then we'll move on to the masail, inshallah tabarak wa ta'ala. In Bukhari, Muslim, Tirmizi, all of these famous books of ahadith, this hadith pak of Rasul Akram alayhi salatu wasalam has been quoted. Huzur sallallahu alayhi wasallam फरमाते हैं कि सहरी खाओ कि सहरी खाने में बरकत है. Have suhoor because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has placed blessings in suhoor. There is blessings in having suhoor. And then Rasul Akram sallallahu alayhi wasallam further explained, अहले किताब के रोज़ों में फ़र्क सहरी का लुक़मा है. Mean between us and Ahle Kitab, the fast of Ahle Kitab and the fast of Muslims is to have sahri. Mean many of us, because we have long days of work, maybe we are tired, we don't get enough sleep during the Ramadan, so we try and miss sahri. That's not the way. We don't really have sahri. Even if you have sahri using water, couple of sips of water, couple of kajurs, that is still counted as you did your suhoor, and the barakat and the blessings that's been mentioned in the ahadith of Rasul Akram alayhi salatu wasalam, that will be attained by you. Imam Tibrani and Ibn Hibban in his Sahih, they mentioned another narration from Rasul Akram alayhi salatu wasalam, that Huzur Akram alayhi salatu wasalam stated, Allah और उसके फरिश्ते सहरी खाने वालों पर दुरूद भेजते हैं. In Allah and the angels of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they send blessings upon those who have their suhoor. So sahri is a very important element in terms of keeping your fast. Looking at these ahadith, this is for the blessings. But in terms of having some physical energy, if you have sahri, it can last you throughout the day. But imagine you had your iftar. After iftar, maybe you had something after tarawih, and that's it. Until the next iftar, it could be long, especially for people who are out working. For them to have sahri in terms of physical energy is one of the important things. When you have sahri in your suhoor, you should have something which is healthy, which would last you for long, instead of all these leftover fried food. Many of us, we may have habit that whatever is left over at the iftar time, the fried ones we have in the sahri. The sahri should be something healthy that can help you with your fast throughout the day. Rasul Akram والسلام, also has stated in the hadith, the summary of hadith is sahri der se karo or iftar jaldi karo. Mean you should delay your sahri and you should be quick in your iftar. Delaying sahri, then scholars say, it does not mean you delay so much that you have doubt of subh sadiq and doubt of dawn. Mean whilst you're eating, you should not have this doubt that let me be quick because it might be the dawn. No, not that much delay. The delay in terms of before the dawn, efficiently, you should complete your sahri and you should be free from eating and clean yourself, like many people used to. They try and use the toothpaste, etc. Everything should be done before the dawn time begins. The next hadith Pak stated that you should be quick in doing your iftar, breaking your fast. Breaking the fast jaldi and quickly does not mean before the time. As soon as time occurs, if you wait for 2 more minutes, that is fine as a precaution. Although the times in masajid we have the maghrib time or the iftar time, it is precautionary time anyway. It has 2 minutes delay from the actual sunset. So therefore it is precautionary time. Many people, they take another minute to wait and then do iftar, that is fine. But delaying mean if you're doing something, you feel like let me complete this task and then I will start my iftar, that is not the way. As soon as iftar time happens, you should break your fast and you should move on with your day. This is the sunnah of Rasul Akram as well. How should one break his fast? The sunnah way to break the fast, and there is a beautiful, very short article Dr. Hussain Saab have written, you should read it. The sunnah to break the fast, use the dates, khajur. The first thing, khajur, the way we see, and another way Rasul Akram has stated, chuhara. But most of us will find chuhara. Chuhara is very dry date. ठीक है, chuhara मुश्किल होता है इफ्तारी के वक्त, लेकिन खजूर is easy. So to break the fast with khajur is sunnah of Rasul Akram sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam stated, if you cannot find it, then water. We use water. Suppose we are traveling, we are out and about, we haven't reached to our home at the time of iftar. At least if we have water, we can use the water to break our fast, sunnah way. This is the way Rasul Akram alayhi salatu wasalam used to break his fast. You have various du'as at the time of breaking your fast, at the time of iftar. Most of them, they are from the sunnah, they are from the ahadith, they are du'a, masurat. You can read them and you can break your fast using them. The shortest dua, Allahumma inni laka sumtu wa ala rizqika aftartu. This is the shortest one. Allahumma inni laka sumtu wa ala rizqika aftartu. When should we pray this dua? Now, you have difference of opinion of scholars. Some say that first you break your fast and then you pray this dua. The reason behind is the meaning of the dua, because the dua says, Allahumma inni laka sumtu. O Allah, I fasted for your sake. Wa ala rizqika aftartu, and I broke my fast on your given sustenance. So aftartu is past tense. If you haven't done the iftari yet and you are using past tense, therefore the scholars say it doesn't add up. So you eat something and then you pray this dua. So eat something with Bismillah. Once you have had khajur, water, whatever you have to have, you have broken your fast now. You have done your iftari, then you pray this dua. But if somebody prays at the beginning, by all means, it is not haram or it is not something against the etiquettes. You can pray the dua anytime. कुछ खा के पढ़ें या फिर बगैर खाए पढ़ें, दोनों सूरत ठीक है. इसमें ऐसा कोई बहुत बड़ा हुक्म या फतवा नहीं है. ठीक है. Some of the aspect of for those people who can miss the fast, who do not have to keep the fast, we'll go through them very swiftly. Somebody who is a musafir, a traveler, is exempt in the light of the Holy Quran from fasting. Now, this traveler has to be Shara'i Musafir. We'll discuss about Shara'i Musafir. We have done briefly previously in our dars. A woman who is hamila, a woman who is breastfeeding. But the condition for the woman who is pregnant, hamila, and breastfeeding is if the fast is going to affect them, or they have physically felt that the fast is affecting their pregnancy, their day-to-day movements, and for the breastfeeding woman, if the fast is affecting her day-to-day movements and her day-to-day, feeding to the child, then she is allowed to miss the fast. Likewise, a person who is ill. Now, this illness it shouldn't be determined by an individual. For example, if I'm not feeling well today, am I going to determine that should I keep the fast or not? Okay, sometimes yes, an individual can be their own mufti, but most of the time it should be determined by somebody who is an expert, a doctor. If it's a Muslim doctor, that's even better, because what we have seen in this country most of the time before the Ramzan, you have flyers, leaflets, and all these things. They come out telling people, be careful, don't fast if you have this, don't fast if you have that. We don't rely on those flyers. We rely on the opinion of an expert. If it's a Muslim doctor, that's even better. And then you decide whether you can carry on fasting or you cannot. If somebody has a sort of illness where they take the medication, again, if the medication can be taken in such a manner at the time of iftar they can take the medication, at the time of suhoor they can take the medication, after that they don't need to have it in between, in that case they must observe the fast if it's not affecting, if the illness is not affecting them. So we need to understand that when it comes because most of the people, when it comes to illness, they determine by themselves, they give the kafara or fidya, and they say that we don't need to continue our fast. This is not the way. If a person is traveling, now traveling is Shara'i Safar. Shara'i Safar is 57.5 miles if one way. If a person is going that far, that person becomes Musafir on the way. When he reaches to the destination, if he is going to stay in his destination for 15 or more days, then he is no longer Musafir. If it's less than 15 days, 14 or less, then he will be a Musafir. On the way, and then when he's there, and when he comes back until he comes to his locality, he will be classed as Musafir if he is traveling the distance I mentioned, and if he is staying there for less than 15 days, so 14 or less days, if he is staying there, he'll be classed as Musafir. He does not have to fast. However, suppose I'm traveling from Leicester, but I'm traveling from Leicester after the dawn will appear. In the month of Ramadan, for me, I cannot miss that day, fast of that day, because I'm leaving the city when the fast will already has begun. Therefore, I have to observe that fast. The only difference is, suppose I started my fast in Leicester because I was leaving after the dawn. So I started my fast. On the way, I became Musafir, everything. On the way, for some reason, I had to break my fast now. I'm a Musafir. I started off my fast as a local. I'm traveling. On my way, whilst I was a Musafir, I was a traveler, I had to break my fast for some reason. Now, there is no kafara, only qaza will be necessary, if that makes sense. कि अगर आपने सफ़र से पहले रोज़ा शुरू किया, अब आप मुसाफिर बन गए, अब सफ़र के दौरान रोज़ा आपको तोड़ना पड़ा, तो उस सूरत में आपको कफ़ारे की ज़रूरत नहीं है, सिर्फ क़ज़ा एक करनी होगी. Because now, when you broke your fast, you are a musafir. So which day, when you are traveling, you can miss the fast. If you are leaving at night, then the fast that's coming the next day, or the fast that will start from the dawn, that fast can be missed by a musafir. If a person is traveling during the day, he cannot miss the fast for that day. He will have to observe the fast. Although even if you are a musafir, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated that If you fast, it is better for you. So if you can, you should observe the fast. If you can't, the exception is there. Yeah, these were some of the masail that I mentioned in front of you. If any question, any confusion, please feel free to ask. We'll continue tomorrow, inshallah, with the further masail.
When you're talking about becoming a musafir, is it from the destination you're leaving from? Is it from the edge of the city that the distance would start?
When the vicinity of the city is ending, so when the buildings of the city they end, that is when you are classed as you are outside of the vicinity of the city. So not necessarily the boundary of Leicestershire. The buildings of Leicester, when they end and you are out of that, you will be classed as travelers. So anytime after that you stop and your destination is 57.5 miles to travel, you will be classed as a musafir, you will do qasr.
Your starting point would be from the boundary of the city.
The boundary of the city. So suppose M69, when we are about to go on M69, buildings are no longer Leicester's building, then we are classed as musafir from that point.
Is the distance 57.5 because you can't choose? If you're over, then you're a musafir and you have to break qasr.
Ji.
If it's less, there's no choice in that, is there? It's just.
I mean, 57.5 miles, it is based on the scholars' takhmina in terms of 3 days and 3 nights travel. Some scholars may have, different in terms of miles, few miles less or few miles more. But what I've mentioned is the majority of the scholars who have written about the modern destination for the travel distance for the traveler is 57.5 miles or 92 kilometers.
So if you're traveling, for example, you put it into your maps and it's showing a couple of routes. One is showing, for example, 55, one might show 59, as an example. In that situation, what would you normally do?
Whichever route you choose.
Also, if you're going on the...
Yeah, so suppose a person is choosing the route which he feels convenient. Now, that's his route and he's going to travel and take that path. That's going to, 58 miles or so, he'll be classed as a musafir. Yeah, because it is based on which way you are taking. That's how it works. Jazakallah. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.